Good evening, Tuesday night, people. More of the behind-the-scenes stuff is happening, so while that is happening, some of the stuff that we have to write is also client-end, so I thought I'd show you a little bit of some of how that software looks at the moment. So this is a replacement text browser, although it's not actually a replacement text browser at all. So to be clear, this is not a replacement for More. And for those of you who don't know what More is the default experience you get when you try to read a text file on your Next. Mark wrote this a way back. It was like one of the first tools that I got to see how a dot file can make using the Next better and add simple features. And one of the tools that originally convinced me that I could write dot files for the Next and make the experience of using the Next as operating system feel more like my native toolchain, which was Unix based. So by default, when you view a text file on the Next, it goes in 85 character mode, and I will choose docs next ZXOS changelog. And this is going to be my example document. And if you view a text file by default on the Next, mine isn't configured for default at the moment, you will see this. Less does things differently by design. I don't know what to do, that doesn't actually matter. As you can see, Next doesn't automatically word wrap. It scrolls left and right. But it does use tile mode. Next also supports scrolling up. These are the two reasons that I wanted it, is so I could throw something that scrolls left and right and scrolls up. It will also do faster scrolling, and faster again, and faster again, depending on how fast you wish to page through the document. You can see in the bottom an indicator. So, less is a text pager. Again, if you want something that does word wrap, and for reading text, you should be using More and not Less. Let's see what else. Pun intended. Less will also handle your hex files. And you can see -X to start in hex mode. So, -X docs next ZXOS changelog. And Remy Sharp mentioned that he wanted a tool to page through hex files, so I wrote Less for him as well as myself. As I said, some of these tools we actually need, so the ability to hold a file entirely in memory and page up and down is quite critical for part of the work on PySend. And I'm just going to page through this file, and you can see the indicators all moving as I go. So the ability to do that is now in Less, and we can then bring those into NextPy UI. So I said PySend, didn't I? I meant NextPy UI. Sorry, David. Use the viewer for both hex and text for viewing files that are on the Pi. With that in mind, you see I said it's a hex viewer, of course. So let's just pick something that is gratuitously binary. It allocates the memory, and there we go. You can page through the file 4K chunks, and you can then search back to the file, etc., etc., etc. So, binary paging, text paging, and viewing as text files as hex. And one other reason is one of the tools that we're writing as part of the server-side work is we're trying to make a viewer of the wiki, so you'll be able to read the wiki documents. Now, I don't have that yet, and that is going to be a little while away. We have a lot of server work to do to still make that work yet, but one of the documents is the Z80N reference, and here it is. And that would be quite viewable in More quite okay, but there are plenty of bits of it that are slightly less good for reading in a word wrapping text editor. And here is one of the tables for the LD instruction, and you can see it's quite a wide table. So having the table, so you can scroll left and right with text viewable in the tile mode was very critical for the tools that we need. Sorry, it's been a very busy long week, which is why this tool that I'm showing you now isn't ready for release yet, and I'm just showing you a preview of the work done this week. But having text viewable in this format is critical for working with NextPy UI, and also working with the wiki viewer and working with NBN. So taken time out to make this text viewer. To remind you all though that what you're seeing is not a replacement for more, and more is still going to be the default text viewer on the distro. This is going to be part of D3 less, so it doesn't replace the default viewer. And if you want to get the less tools, you'll need to get the next updated D3, which will be 0.5, which isn't released yet. So this is just a preview of what's coming up. Thank you for your time. Wonderful Tuesday night, people, and I'll see you next Tuesday. TTFN.